And this guy is my other rescue. This muddy, filthy little beast is wiping his face all over my pants and shirt. He just came out of a little mud hole, which is fine. I got, I could wash these clothes. So welcome on Saturday, everyone, to Uncle Martin's Live. What am I going to talk about today? It's always true stories, always true stories. Don't have enough true stories in life, but I got quite a few. Okay, so this thumbnail is going to be on romanticizing smoking. I'm just going to have it under. I'm just going to have it under smoking. Keep it short and sweet. When did Uncle Martin start smoking? We're talking cigarettes right now. Okay. I'll go into the other stuff if you want, but I'm just talking about cigarettes. When did Uncle Martin start smoking cigarettes? Well, actually, I had parents that were teachers, never smoked. My grandfather smoked a pipe. Nanny never smoked. My grandfather on my dad's side, the Sicilian Italian, smoked like a chimney. Was what were they? They were Camel non-filters, and Uncle Joe smoked Camel non-filters. And there was a few others that I had in my family. They were Pale Male non-filters. It was just something. Well, it was accepted at one time, and well, I guess it's still. Well, it's not accepted anymore. Because you used to be able to go on an airplane and smoke a cigarette. I remember those days. Boy, that was a smelly airplane. And then I remember back in the day when you could go to a bar, there was people smoking cigarettes everywhere. And gradually it phased out to where smokers had to go outside. Although I do remember kids with their family being subjected to cigarette smoke while their parents were driving the car, and they wouldn't let the window down. So all the kids had it was secondary smoke, which is negative, really rather negative. They might as well just give the kids a cigarette. No, they shouldn't, but you were just breathing in stuff that you really didn't need. So, getting back to smoking, my first cigarette, I remember it well. I was in kindergarten. I was 5, and about that time, the Flintstones came out, and it wasn't until like maybe the first or second season went by, and Fred Flintstone, and Barney Rubble, they were in the back of the. Let's see. I think this commercial was Fred let out the big cat. It was like a mountain lion cat. He let it out, but he went outside with Barney. They went off to the side and they started smoking cigarettes. They smoked a cigarette, and it was the one the cigarette. Cigarettes taste good like a cigarette should. That one. I'm not promoting anything because that was Winston, though. It was a Winston cigarette. And so I'm watching that. Dad's watching us watch that. So my dad's watching us as children, the reaction, because it's a cartoon. And we loved cartoons. So that would be a good ploy for the tobacco company to hit kids early. Show them well, it was a family, Flintstones. Everybody watched the Flintstones. And we had to go to bed after that cartoon commercial. Okay, commercial's over. Got to go to bed. Now, My Aunt Nancy, who was kind of a mentor to me, as well as the matriarch of our family, eventually, she she came over one day. It was around Christmas time, and she lit up a cigarette. And my dad said, "Hey sis, give me one of those." See, my dad is he was taking psychology. We were up in Flagstaff, and he was taking psychology. He got his bachelor's in teaching, but he had watched mannerisms of his children, and he was watching me on that first commercial. Now that I think about it, okay. And he said, "Sis, let me have one of those cigarettes." And she said, "Oh, here you go, Mark." You know, his dad takes the cigarette and lights it, and he looks at me and said, and I said, "Dad, when did you start smoking cigarettes?" He says, "I don't smoke cigarettes, but every now and then I do." "Dad, why would you do that?" "Because it relaxes me." "It relaxes you?" Hey, who do I have here? Hey, Mary Gruel, keep going. Okay, Mary, I will. And hey there, YTTJ gaming official. I saw some of your stuff. It's interesting. You little gamer, you. So, so where was I, you guys? You guys are trying to throw me off. It's not going to work. So, Dad takes his big hit off a cigarette, and I'm saying, "Wow, Dad." And he says, "Would you like to have one?" I said, "Dad, you know I want to do everything you do." He says, "Okay." So grab a cigarette from your aunt. My Aunt Nancy gives me a cigarette, and he didn't let me play with matches. I'm only 5. And I wasn't going to play with it. I wanted to light it. And he says, "No, I'll light that for you." um, hey, Savannah. Hey, how are you today? I'm very well, Savannah. And Gaming and Kelly Cross. How you guys doing? I'm talking about smoking. My first cigarette. So, Dad says, "Remember, when I light the cigarette for you, I'm 5 years old." He says, you take a big hit on that cigarette, like I did." I said, "Okay, Dad." So he lights it. I take the, and by the time it got through my throat, not even down on my chest, it was burning. I was swallowing smoke. I coughed up a bunch of smoke, and I started crying. Well, I was 5. What did I know? Hi, Kelly. Kelly, how was your day? Kelly, my day was crazy. That would be another story. I'm home now. At work was crazy. We had no managers. Everybody was flocking in, and we got by. We always get by, and you're always glad when the 8 hours are over. Okay, so here I am, choking, crying, and they're laughing like they've never. And I run off to my bedroom, and I have my face in the pillow, crying, and I hear this click. I turn around. It's my Aunt Nancy. She took a picture of me. So I still got that picture. And when I find it, I will show you the picture of me crying with my head in a pillow on my first cigarette. My dad was trying to get a hold of me at an early age, saying, "Hey, it's negative." And I think also, if I did it in that manner, it would hold me back from smoking down the road, which it absolutely did. Yeah, I mean, there was no doubt about it. I didn't have another cigarette for, well, that's what I'm talking about. This is the thumbnail. Smoking, all right? Okay, Gina Smith, how was your day? Gina, you're the second person that said that. It was hell on earth, but that's okay. I was prepared for it. I emotionally I went in there and I checked my schedule. They had me down for 17 hours. I've never worked 17 hours in over a year and a half where I work. Well, what happened was the manager that went on vacation for 2 weeks, he didn't put it in. So I guess they made up stuff or something. And well, I went to the head person and I said, do I have to get the union in on this or something? She said, oh no, it's whatever you wrote down for your schedule. You go by that. Forget about what the schedule on the wall says. I said, fantastic. So it was an emotional roller coaster ride that I passed because I knew I was not going to get emotionally distraught over something that you could get emotionally. That is your test, kids. Always your test. There's things thrown at you every day, and and like karma, negative or positive karma. It doesn't matter what's thrown at you. It's how you handle it. When anything really negative hits you, which is every day usually, to where you handle it, it's always your choice on how you handle it. When you don't handle it emotionally to where you lose your emotions, you're a winner. When you lose it emotionally, you're a loser. I mean, you've lost the test, is what I'm saying. We're tested every day, okay? Okay, Gina Smith. Oh, and Gina Smith. Not good. Good, bad. Is there really a good or bad? It's basically qualifying your energies or misqualifying your energies. You can point to a person over there and saying what a good person they are, what a saint they are. But what is their intent? It appears that they're doing good things, but their intent is evil. What does that make them? The devil. Well, no, that would be judgmental. Judge not, lest ye be judged. So, good and evil is relative. It's what your intent is when you're doing something. Okay? Remember that. It's very important. What type of music do you like? Well, Gina, I am now more of a classical. I'd like a little bluegrass, something with the three-quarter beat to the heart. I've got different. I've got episodes on that. I believe you would love to have to look up rock, jazz, or classical. That explains it all. I did a live on it. Rock, jazz, or classical. Just backtrack through my lives, and you'll have my answer. Okay, Gina Smith. Same. Hey, think alike. Great minds think alike. So where was I at the point of the first cigarette? Okay. So I got to jump ahead now to where that was in Arizona up in Flagstaff. Dad didn't graduate. Excuse me. He did not graduate yet as to be a teacher. As got his bachelor's. Mom did a few. Excuse me. A few sessions in NAU too. But she was short on credits. But she still became like a teacher for English and history, third grade. That's another story. So we got to jump ahead to where I'm like 9, 10, 10. I'm 10 years old. I'm in Jersey. I'm chopping down dead elm trees. And this is the chopping down dead elm trees is how I, in sixth grade, was able to take out a ninth grader. Yeah, I got an episode on that one too for you guys. Okay. Hey, Gina, I have to say goodbye. Well, don't forget to subscribe before you say goodbye. Or at least share Uncle Martin, all right? I'm not asking for much. I think your friends would enjoy it. Okay, Tree. Yo, hey, what do you say, Tree? What's up? Smoking is up, or it could be down, depending on how you look at it. I'm talking about cigarettes right now, because now I made little pipes out of, when I was in Jersey, there was acorns, big fat acorns, and they were gigantic. So I carved them out and put a hole through it. I got a tree that had a hole through it. So I made my own pipes, all right? And all I had was cherry leaves from our cherry tree. So I'm around smoking cherry leaves, all right? I'm cool, I'm 10 years old, smoking my own pipe. My grandfather smoked a pipe, so here I am, imitating my grandfather. See, when we go smoking, we usually imitate somebody that we look up to, or just. Now I want to say it's also romanticizing because we had a lot of commercials back then. You don't have any commercials on cigarettes anymore, but we had a ton of them back then. You couldn't turn the channel without having a cigarette commercial. I mean, everywhere you looked, some girl is stroking somebody's hair because he's smoking that brand cigarette. Or it's always a story with usually a woman and a guy smoking a cigarette. You want the woman? Smoke this cigarette. I mean, it's subliminal and subconscious, but sold a lot of cigarettes. Like it does a lot of things these days. You would do, a game named, wait a minute. Uh, wait, do you know a game named RD2? RD2. No, I sure don't. I'll check it out. Okay, Gina Smith, I do have to go. You subscribe. Bless your heart. Do me a favor and share Uncle Martin with somebody that thinks like you. I know you have a few friends, even your parents, because I think parents should Uncle know Uncle Martin. Um, Red Dead Redemption. Okay, down. Domino said hi. Donna Bromello. Hey, Italian. Hi, hello. And Gina Smith. Gina Smith, you're back. You weren't gone very long at all. Okay, so here I am, 10 years old, going around, not in front of my parents, but smoking a homemade pipe with cherry leaves in it. Okay. I'm gonna go just a couple weeks later. Bro and I, we added up our pennies. It was 18 cents back there in the mid 60s, 18 cents for a pack of cigarettes. I just sold cigarettes to this one guy. It was like 10 bucks. Hey, how prices change. So we got 18 cents. We went down to the store. We got Chesterfield, old gold. It was old gold. It was old gold cigarettes. There's 20 in the pack, as they are today. So bro and I had 10, he had 10. And we sat in the back coal bin, outside coal bin, because we had one down in the basement too, that kept us warm all winter with coal in the furnace. Yeah, it was back in the day, in the furnace days. And I went out, that's when I was chopping down dead elm trees to stay, well, I chopped down a dead elm tree within 18 to 20 inches. I cut it from the tree, then I quartered it, and then I brought it home in a wheelbarrow, and then we used that wood and coal together in the furnace because we were poor. Well, I don't know about poor, but Dad just never had enough coal. We had, for 3 winters straight, they needed Uncle Martin to go out down chopping out dead elm trees. Imagine that. Well, got us through the winters. It gets pretty cold up there in the wintertime. Hey, Gina Smith, interesting. Yeah, it's all true stuff. That's how Uncle Martin was so strong at 10, 11, 12 years old. And 12 years old, I was able to take out a ninth grader. I was in 6th grade. I took out a ninth grader. I have that in the episode, whatever it was, but it was a true story there. Ninth grader, I'm a 6th grader. Well, it happens when you become strong, kids. That's why I cannot get across to you enough to do your push-ups. It doesn't cost a thing to do push-ups. You're working with your body weight. Chin-ups, push-ups. I won the records on all of those. I climbed the rope since I was in 1st grade. Dad put that rope in the middle of the living room when I was in 1st grade. And I climbed that sucker up and down with my feet straight out to the top, and then slow as you can, hand over hand over hand over hand, and back down as many times as you could do it. And so tell me that doesn't work out the body. I'm just saying, to this day, I got a 18, about 22 foot rope right here. I'm going to show you someday, and I climb it to this day. All right, and look at me. Well, I can still climb a rope. Not many people with my experience can climb a rope right now, but that would be another story, right? Tree. Okay. Anna. Hey, Anna Navarro. Hello, Anna. Hello. And hey, what's up, Anna? You know Tree? Gina Smith. What's your favorite movie? Gosh, there's so many good movies. I like 5-star movies. 5-star. Hard to find a 5-star. But right off the top of my head, Sergeant York. Look up Sergeant York. It's a true story. I love true stories. I tell true stories. That one you should start with, Sergeant York. He's a backwoods country boy that did very well. and protecting his men in a very hostile situation. I love that movie. Gosh, what are the other ones? I got so many, but start with that one, Sergeant York. It's like 1938 movie or something. Probably colorized by now, but it's got some all-star cast in it. It's got his sister, who was, I believe, the mother of Lassie. Remember Lassie? She was the mother of that one. She was young, less experience. Okay, okay. You just same. I have 5.2. You have 5.2 stars probably. I like 5-star movies. Yes, 5-star movies are the best. Why would you want to go to a 1.5 star? They're kind of crummy. Yeah, I like Stitch so much. Stitch, huh? Stitch. I'll have to look that one up. So where are we at? Yes, bro and I, we're smoking. Dad's gonna be home in about a half hour. Mom is on the other side of the house. We're in the back coal room smoking these old gold cigarettes. And we got no time to do it. So we do one after another. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We do 10 all in about a half hour. Now, normally, if you do a cigarette, it takes 7 minutes. So if you add that up, we were going through those cigarettes pretty quickly. We had to, because if we got caught, it would be a black belt beating like we never had before, which we've had before, and we didn't want again. Okay. So bringing back so many memories. I wasn't going to go into this one, but so as we get all done with the cigarettes, we go outside and we can't stand up. I mean, actually, we're like things are spinning, we're falling down, we can't walk. And I said, nah, I'm not going to do this again. It's negative. We were falling into the trap of being romanticized by these commercials that were saying how wonderful it is to smoke cigarettes. That's all I'm saying. So the next time we get into this, it must have been maybe the next year. Aunt Nancy shows up with Uncle Jim, and she says, would I like to go? Because we were in Millstone, New Jersey. I forgot to tell you about that. Millstone, New Jersey. It's only 1 mile square. That's all. It's a big. You're out of town. I mean, you're out. So we had a 2-acre plot of ground in that 1 mile, and 50 foot from the house, we had dead elm trees. Dead elm trees because there was a dead elm disease back in the 60s that killed all the elms. It went all the way up to Michigan, all the way up north from us. It's a dead elm disease. It was not the barking beetle, but it was the larvae. Because I killed 1,000 of those. I saw a beetle. I killed it. It's killing the trees. I didn't know it was the larvae. It was, and they never barked. They never barked. As much as I squashed them, they never barked. So how could there be a barking beetle? It's killing these trees. Just something I was thinking about. Okay. We're now at Aunt Nancy, Uncle Jim. Aunt Nancy's asking me, would I like to go up to Hillsboro, which is up to, I don't know, 5-6 miles up the road. Uncle Jim's got to get to, we got to do some shopping. He's got to pick up some cigars. Would you like to go for a ride? Yeah, Nancy, I love you. I want to go for a ride. So we go on up there. Now, Uncle Jim has like about, I don't know, a whole pocket full of cigars. That's a pen. These look like cigars, don't they? Nah, they're just rawhide. And Nancy's, Uncle Jim's now smoking away here, and Nancy sees me looking at Uncle Jim. And Nancy says, would you like to have one of those? And I'm thinking back in my mind, I was 5 years old when she gave that first cigarette to Dad to give to me. And they thought it was funny that I was going to be crying. Well, I didn't know I was going to be crying, but they thought it was funny when I was crying, when I sucked in all that smoke. So now she thinks that the same thing's going to happen. She says, would you like to have one of those cigars? I said, Aunt Nancy, you know we're not allowed to smoke cigarettes or cigars. You know Dad gives us the black belt if we ever get caught doing that. She says, oh, no. No, don't worry. You can have one of those cigars, and I'll never tell your dad. I said, Aunt Nancy, I don't believe you. She says, oh, I promise. She crosses her heart. She promises she'll never tell my dad. I said, hey, Aunt Nancy, it's good enough for me. Uncle Joe, Uncle Jim. I had Uncle Joe too. They both begin with the J. I said, Uncle Jim, I'll take one of those cigars. I'm 10 years old. So he gives it to me. I take it out of the wrapper. I kind of like lick it a little bit because, cause it's kind of dry sometimes. Just wondering how would I know this? Well, I watch commercials. Never had a cigar. So now I got one, and I think she lit it for me, and I'm smoking away. I don't know. She's like amazed that I'm able to smoke this cigar without coughing. She says, how can you possibly smoke that filthy thing without coughing? I said, hey Nancy, don't tell Dad. No, I won't tell Dad. But I make my own. I make my own pipes out of acorns. I get a hollow tube tree that I put in the acorn. I get cherry leaves. I put cherry leaves in there or some corn silk. We grew corn. So corn silk is another way. It's very spiritual by the Indians, by the way, corn silk. That'd be another story. So here we are, me puffing away on this cigar, and I don't know. I'm not enjoying it, but I'm not inhaling it either. You're not supposed to inhale cigars, they say. So I got about 3/4 down, and then we're getting close to home. She takes it out, and the road, there's no grass out there, just plain road. She throws it out in the road, which you're never supposed to do either. Never the cigarette. So we get to the house. Okay, Gina Smith, I have to go. Gina Smith, I've heard you say that before. Make sure you come back soon, or at least finish this episode. You'll love it. Tell your friends about Uncle Martin, would you please? It's the only way it's going to get out there. All you, I don't want to say kids, but whoever's watching, it's the only way it's going to happen. You start sharing Uncle Martin. That's what it comes down to. And by the way, if you subscribe, I'll subscribe to you. It's just one of the things I do. So we get home. Blah, blah, blah. I think I had to chop down a couple more elm trees because that was one of my jobs. Take down at least 2 trees, chop one up, and bring back the wood because winter was coming. In fact, I was supposed to chop down trees before I even did my homework. I mean, that's how deadly it was that you didn't freeze at night in New Jersey. I mean, and I was all for that. I didn't care for homework. As you well know, I went to 20 schools. I did graduate. I don't know how much homework I really ever did. Hey, M-A-F-E, hey, Mafe. Mafe? Is that Mafe? Hello, Muffy. I don't think I've seen you before. Welcome. We're talking about smoking, thumbnail smoking. So now it's dinner time. We're sitting down at dinner table, and I think we got to about where it was dessert time, and excuse me. Uncle Joe says, I'm going to pass on dessert. I'll maybe have an apple or orange later. See, the Italians, they didn't really eat too much. Well, some of them did, but my side, they'd rather have an orange, a pear, an apple, rather than ice cream. I know. Well, I don't eat ice cream now anyway, but that'd be another story. That's true, though. They were all right. They said it's better to have fruit after your meal than a bunch of sugar. These guys knew something, man. This is back in the 60s. So Uncle Joe says, Uncle Joe, I keep calling him, it's Uncle Jim, Uncle Jim. He goes out, he says, I got to go outside, I'm going to smoke a cigar, because Dad did not allow anybody smoking cigarettes or cigars in the house. So he's going out there, and before he goes, Aunt Nancy says, oh, by the way, hey, Jim, maybe little Marty would like to have a cigar with you. And I'm looking at Aunt Nancy saying, oh, man, what are you doing, Aunt Nancy? And she starts laughing, and Dad has a pensive face. My dad has a pensive face. Why would I enjoy going out with Uncle Jim to have a cigar? He knows that I'm not supposed to be smoking cigarettes or cigars. It's a black belt beating like I never had before. Well, then she says to my dad, she says, "Oh, Mart, he was the cutest thing today." And I'm looking at Aunt Nancy, I'm thinking, oh no, she's not going to say what I'm thinking she's going to say. And she did. She says, "Your son had a cigar today." And Dad looks at me. I look at Dad, and I look at my Aunt Nancy. I said, "Aunt Nancy, you promised." And she said, "Oh, but it was so cute." Now, when she's looking at my dad, she says, "Mart, don't get excited now. He didn't smoke the whole thing." And my dad said, "Oh, he was smoking a cigar today." She says, "Yes, but he didn't smoke the whole thing." And my dad said, he's looking at me, and then it was like, I knew it was coming, man. I knew I was going to get a whooping. And then she didn't stop there. See, kids, you get somebody. She had round eyes. She could round. I have something on round eyes, or I will again. Round eyes. That means you can't keep a secret. There's about 12 different eyes you have. She had round ones. So does bro. You can't keep. If you have a person with round eyes, they can't keep a secret. It's a law. And I've been proving this time and time again. But she says, well, he he also makes his own pipes. I said, "Aunt Nancy, you promised." And she starts laughing. "Yeah, he takes the big acorns, makes a hole in them, and puts a straw. He puts a piece of wood with a hole through it, and smokes it with cherry leaves." Excuse me. Yeah, says, "Oh, really?" I know I'm done for it right now. And I did get a black belt beating because they had to go home, and I was stuck with Dad. He said, "Son, you know what I have to do, right?" I said, He said, "Well, go get the belt." So it was like, they always they want you to get the weapon that you're going to get beat with. And every time he was going to give me a black belt spanking, it's not a beating. See, he had a beating. His father, my grandfather, he was a jeweler, and he was also a barber, and he had a big leather strap, the kind you do the shaving thing. It was like kind of a knife thing. It's all the old movies, they do a real close shave on you. Well, they use a leather strap, and the sucker is about 9 inches like that. It's big. That's how they sharpen their utensil to shave you. So Dad literally had one of those, and he got a beating, and I'll go into that sometime, because every time I was going to get a spanking, he said, "Son, I hate to do this, but I always got it worse." I said, "I don't believe you." I never said I don't believe you, Dad, but after I heard the stories, I was a believer. And it came from somebody that wasn't even part of my family. It was just like a serendipitous thing. I can't wait to go into that one. But he did get beat. Um, I got spankings. He got beat. There's a difference between beatings and spankings. I don't. The the hose. If they ever get, there's a like the rubber hose. I only had that once, and it was so painful, and I never got it again. It was another utensil they tried, I guess, that they went back to the black belt. I know you kids don't get a black belt, so you don't know what I'm talking about. You probably get a slipper. You get a slipper hit. You get hit with a slipper. You probably don't even get hit at all, for crying out loud. None of you kids ever get hit. That's what I hear now. All I heard was spare the rod and spare the rod and spare the child. That's what I was brought up under, and there was a lot of rod swinging there. Okay, so we got rid of that one. I just want to hurry up with this because I don't want to make it all day here. But smoking, how it is romanticized. Okay, it is romanticized, by the way. People say, "Oh no, it's not romanticized." Oh, it is. From the commercials you don't get now, but just the people around. It's cool. It's a cool thing to do, man. They even name cigarettes cool. How cool is that, right? Menthol, by the way, menthol is the worst because menthol is the most addicting to start smoking or be smoking. They're the most addictive. Menthol. It's proven factual. Bet me on this, please. Um, Next. I'm now 18 years old. I had my Triumph Spitfire that I thought in my mind I wanted since I was 10. But now it took 8 years to get it. That's what I'm saying. Whatever you think you want, you will get. It took me 8 years to get my Triumph Spitfire. 1969, very sleek. And it was 1973, so 69, 71, 2, 3. It was only 4 years old. And it was a baby. It was beautiful. That'd be another story. It was yellow. I'm getting the heads checked out because there's double carburetors. Very difficult to get timed, by the way. But while I'm waiting, I see this cigarette machine in front of me. I have nothing else to do. I go over there and I say, hey, look at those cool cigarettes. So I put money in, pull it out, started smoking a cool. I think I coughed the first time, but it didn't take long to say, hey, these are probably for me. Hey, you filthy beast. He's back again, muddying me up. Oh well. So that's when it started because at work I was now a qualified brakeman at the Jersey Central Railroad at 18 years old. Everybody was smoking cigarettes. Everybody. There wasn't one person that didn't smoke a cigarette. So it was maybe peer pressure, possibly. So there's another way of looking at it. Peer pressure. You don't have that today because there's not that many cigarette smokers out there. But back then, you couldn't. You were the minority. They were majority. Now today, they're the minority and you're the majority. And so see how things go in a reversal. All right. Okay, Donna Morello. That is true. I never got spanked or beaten by my dad. Well, by anybody. Um, well, you had great parents that saw that there was other ways of doing it, like disappointment. Sometimes your parents or guardians, when they're so disappointed in you, it's worse than a beating and a spanking because you've let them down. They've put you in a position to where you know better, but you let them down. And that disappointment is kind of worse than even a spanking. I feel that. Through the years, I found that to be true. We got, where are we? Okay, so I started with cools, and then I merged my way. Everybody on the road. We smoked a pack of cigarettes in the yard before we even started making up a train. And you know how long it takes to smoke a pack of cigarettes? Yeah, it depends how fast, but a couple hours. So these guys were just sitting around milking the clock, you know? I mean, you wonder why the railroad went broke. Because all the extra stuff you got for moving a caboose or coupling up to another car, and it was ridiculous. And I think they've changed things now, as I recall. Although I might be going back into the railroad as an engineer locally. I'm thinking about it because I got the qualifications. And every time I hear from the distance, I'm like up in 4 in the morning, and from the distance you hear that hmm, hmm, that kind of sound tears me up because I was the guy when we were going through the intersections. I was the guy in the horn. We were going through and then well, we got written up that one time in Morgansville, New Jersey. I laid on the horn too long. It was like 2, 3 in the morning, and I was only supposed to go and I didn't do that. So the train master found us, and I got written up for it. And this is perfect because the train master, this is a guy with a big boil on the back of his neck. He had a what is it called? A blanket party, because he was a real stinker. And a blanket party is when you're a real stinker, and when you come out of the office, they throw a blanket over you, and everybody gets a shot at you, and you don't know who did it. I mean, you could think about who did it, but you can't prove anything. There's a blanket over your head. And usually that straightens the person out, but not this guy. Actually, his name was Mr. Morgan. So I'm wondering, was he the train master that owned Morgansville? I don't know. I don't know. Okay, let's get on with the story. It all comes full circle, by the way, with this train master. So there we go. We're now, I'm sitting down at, I was in Braille, Newark, New Jersey. And I'm sitting down and we're having lunch. Now, a guy goes into the refrigerator, he pulls out this can of dog food. He opens it up. One more. This is it. I love that dog. He's my rescue. Lightning. So a guy pulls out a can of dog food with some kind of it was like a German Shepherd with the tongue hanging out. I don't know if everyone remembers that brand. So he opens it up, and I'm asking. We called him Dog Food Man after that, and I said, "Hey, you got a dog?" Because I've already worked with the guy for 4 hours. It's lunchtime. I said, "You got a dog? I don't see any dog around here. You got a dog? You got him in your car or something?" He says, "No, I don't have a dog." I said, "Well," and the other guy we call Candy Man because every time he asked for a cigarette, he called the cigarette candy. Let me have some candy. Hey, you got some candy? Give me some candy, right? That kind of mentality. So Dog Food Man is eating away. He's getting a spoon. He's eating it. Because Candyman's saying, "Hey, watch this, kid," and he starts eating the dog food. I said, "What are you?" I said, I got my sandwich here. I'll share my food with you here, buddy. You don't have to eat no dog food because we're rich. Well, not. Yeah, we're rich because we can buy anything we want. We're railroad men. This is the highest paying job back in the 70s. That's where I got all the things I ever thought about as a child. Anything I thought about, I bought. And I was able to acquire a lot of things. I acquired money. Also, I acquired women. Because in my mind, I was brought up Italian. You got to have women. Women, women, women. You have women, you have money. You're going to be happy. Well, guess what, kids? It's a lie. All the women and all the money you can make is not going to make you happy. Just something to think about. Put it on the back shelf. So this guy's eating away this dog food, about half a can. And I'm asking him, why would he do that? He says he was brought up during World War II, and they didn't have any money. They didn't have any food. There was like a shortage of food actually in World War II. There was what do you call it? Something we had have like little stickers, green stamps or something like that, like a green stamp thing to buy like coffee, butter, gasoline, tires, a lot of stuff that you could buy today with no problem. Rationed. All the stuff was rationed. So that's what was happening. They didn't have any food, and he got hooked on dog food. I wouldn't even feed my dogs dog food. I don't. I don't feed my dogs dog food. Too many dogs are dying because of the dog food. If you check that out, that's something you might want to check out. Toxic dog food. Please do that. Bet me on this. So, Candyman is now asking me for. He sees through my pocket that I have Camel non-filters now, because I've got, since we're in a union, we have to smoke union cigarettes, and that would be Lucky Strike, that would be Camels, Pale Mel, whatever others. So I give him a Camel. He says, "Thanks for the candy." Oh yeah, he's smoking away his candy. Then he tells me the story, and this is where the romanticizing comes in, because I wasn't really smoking a lot of cigarettes, but after this, you couldn't stop me. Why? Because he romanticized the cigarettes. This is what he says. "Oh, in the morning, I'm in bed and I light up my first cigarette. By the way, these don't taste too bad." So he says, "The first thing in the morning, I light up my cigarette, and then by the time I'm done with my first cigarette, my sweetie comes by and says, 'Would you like a cup of coffee?' He says, 'I'd love a cup of coffee.' So while the coffee's going, he has another cigarette. So then he gets his coffee. What does he do? Has another cigarette. This guy, before he gets out of bed, has 3 cigarettes. And then he gets in the car, he drives to work, he finishes up the rest of the pack. He's got 1 or 2 left. He's almost through a pack of cigarettes before he gets to work. Something about the story. I was young, I was naive, I was 18 years of experience. So what do? I'm home now the next day, and I had a sweetie next to me. And I light up a cigarette. I said, "Hey, sweetie, why don't you make me some coffee?" "Okay, dear." I don't remember her name at the moment, but she went and made some coffee. So I have a cigarette. And then she brings me my coffee. I have another cigarette. Finish my coffee. I have another cigarette. I'm duplicating what this guy, Candyman, just told me. I have 3 cigarettes before I'm out of bed, and I have like about a half-hour drive from Somerville to Brill, Newark. So I'm done. I'm just about done with a whole pack of cigarettes by the time I get to work. And then there's another pack you're smoking while you're in the yard, waiting to get out of the yard. By the end of the day, I have 5 packs of cigarettes that I'm smoking for approximately about 3 years now, I guess. So this is the part where it gets interesting. Um, I was in charge of making sure there was no clear alleys when we're kicking these cars down. Um, the head end of the engine was like 200 cars that way, and all we had was the hind end box cars. So we're giving the guy a signal to to go, and we open up the angle cock, and it kicks down a clear alley, which I get to ride the box car because they know how well I could put a brake on these things. And then of course they give a stop sign. The engineer is now waiting for the next car to get kicked down some alley. So I'm closing off all the alleys with the brake, big wheel, chains come up, and I put my whole body into it. I mean, literally my whole body into it, with my feet into it. I've actually snapped a chain before, which is remarkable because these chains are like really thick. So they knew them. By that time, it was like I was 2 years into it, and they knew my rep because they said, "Hey, this is the kid you want to ride these cars down," because you could slam into the box car with a couple of the cars, and it didn't move more than 9 inches, maybe a foot. And I was pretty well known for that. This is the kid we want. I was there. So I did all the alleys, and then there's a little bit of snow on the ground just put out there. It's kind of winterish, and we cut this one. It was a box car and an oil tanker, about 100,000 gallons of oil in this big, the black ones that they fill up oil. It's filled with oil. So it's going down. I believe it was number 7, and I'm looking at the sheet, and I said to Candyman, I said, "Hey, I don't believe I went down 7." He says, "Yeah, you went down 7. You secured that track." I said, "No, I never went down 7, and we got a box car and a full tanker going down 7, and it's kind of going slow. I mean, not too fast." So him and Dog Food Man are looking at the sheet and says, "Didn't you tie that down?" "No, I didn't tie it." "You tied it down?" "No." They're looking at me. I said, "Hey, you never told me to tie it down. We never had a car going down that clear alley." I said, "Somebody's got to get it." So I said, "Somebody's got to get it." And they said, "Hey, son, if you feel up to it, go for it." So I take off running. It's a good 5 or 6 cars away now, and a car is about 50 foot. So but I'm able to run past the tank car and get up on the ladder of the box car where the big wheel is, because that's the important one. The tankers, the black tankers that fill with oil, they have this like upright thing with a little wheel. It stinks because once you do it, the clicker, it can break. It's crummy. It's not efficient. Hopefully they fixed it by now. So I'm up on the box car, and I'm able to climb up the ladder, and I see we're going out the main line. Out the main line we're going. And off to the left is 3 units, which would be 3 engines, and it has a whole bunch of cars behind it. and I see that we're gonna hit the main line. Well, I could barely breathe. I'm out of breath. I can't. I don't even have enough strength to wrap a. I can't even put a brake on. I mean, that's how out of breath I was. So I said, yeah, I got to get back down. So I climbed back down. The main line smashed into the box car. The oil tanker goes on its side. All this oil is coming out on the main line. Off to the right, there was some fusees burning from the day before that caught fire on some railroad ties. So they didn't think it was too important to maybe get it, but now it was important. So we had fire engines there. They got the fire out, thank God, before the oil got there. So now we got everybody and their brother over there, inspectors and everything else. And who comes out? Mr. Morgan. He's the guy with the big boil in the back of his neck. He's the one who had the blanket party. So we put a blanket over his head and started wailing away. I didn't know that these two guys, Candyman and Dog Food Man, were involved in that little ruckus. Not until years later, and so they before anybody really gets there, Dog Food Man and Candyman, they're gonna like retire in like a month. They've already been 62 years in this. Well, they're 60, going to be 62, and that's when you retire on the railroad. And they said, son, you got to take the blame for this. Oh, no, they didn't say that. They didn't come out and say that. They said, how many demerits do you have? I said, I don't have any demerits. I mean, they said, oh, good. We've got too many. You've got to take the blame for this. I said, no, I'm not taking the blame for this. I didn't do anything wrong. I told you guys that I told you, and they said, yeah, son, but we can't. We're about ready to retire, and they'll fire us here on the spot. And you got to take the blame, son. You got to do it. You just got to do it. I said, I don't think so. And then so the trainmaster comes out, guy with the big boil in the back of his neck. Should have had that lance or something, but I couldn't go there with a guy. I was a healer. I mean, I help people. Yeah, it's always been my job. Make sure if people are in pain, I try to help them. Okay, it's just something I do. I don't want to do it, but I can't help myself. But in this situation, I didn't bring it up about a castor oil pack or something we could have done. But he says, who did this? And he points to these two guys. And they said to me, son, what do you say, son? I said, Mr. Morgan, I did ride that car down the alley, which is true. And when I climbed the ladder and I tried to put the brake on, I couldn't do it. It didn't work for me, which is true. Now, I didn't tell them that they're the jokers that kicked it down the clear alley. I just said, it's my fault that I was not able to stop this car from going out the main line. He says, it was you, huh? You sure it wasn't them? I said, nah, it was me. So I got written up, but I didn't have any demerits, so they can't do anything. See, on the railroad, it's crazy, kids, or whoever's watching. The railroad has some really interesting rules. When you're in a union, I think it's the strongest union in the world. Because there's a rule there on the union that you can squash people, like, well, let's say you're supposed to be arm length from the track, but sometimes when the cars go back and forth, when they're going too fast, you could be on the ladder and get squashed. Or you are opening up the angle cock and the draw head, and you're moving the draw head, and you have your back to it, and you didn't, and somebody gave the bad signal, and you get coupled up in between the draw heads. That's happened a lot too. Actually, that's a story they told me that happened to one of their buddies. He got coupled up between that, and they said, nothing you can do, son. You get a cigarette. They call out the pastor, the priest. They put a bag underneath you, and then we give a go ahead, and then you go into the bag. I said, that doesn't sound very happy. There's nothing on the railroad. That's why it's so dangerous. The statistics show if you can live for the first 30 days, statistics show you can get up to 62 and retire. If you don't get maimed or cut from underneath the wheels. I mean, there's so many things that can happen on the railroad. I got a few for you. I haven't even gone into, but so the train master says it wasn't you. I was there, but yeah. So I got written up. He had it in for me from that point on, which would be another story. What I'm saying is, cigarette. That's what this is all about. Smoking, being romanticized. It's something to be cool. It's it isn't cool, even if you're smoking cools. Um, it's something that well, you're going to do what you're going to do, all right? But I suggest this, that it is not necessary, okay? My second spiritual teacher always brought that up. He never said do or don't. He always, when it was negative, he says, it is not necessary. I always like that. I always like that part because you can tell somebody to do something, not to do something, and they're still going to do what they're going to do, right? Um, where are we at this thing here? Hey Zoe, how you doing? Hey, remember me? Yeah, Zoe, I remember you. Are you a subscriber? If not, I'll subscribe to you. Anybody else is left here? The sun's coming down. I got to go feed a bunch of cats. Starving 22 sparrows that way, 7 or 8 that way. I got a ton of birds. I got some starving dogs. They think they are, but they're not. Um, that's all I wanted to get across is smoking is negative. But you're always going to do what you're going to do. I can only suggest something, which is stay as healthy as you can. Eat organic if you can. Watch the meats that you eat. And whatever you do in life, do it well. That's all. And always give gratitude to the angels and God for protecting you. The more recognition you give to the angels and God, the more protection you get. That's a law. Recognition. Okay? Or you can go to the other side. You'll get recognition there too. But that would be the negative side. But who's to say? Until you experience that it is negative. Some people don't have discernment. So you might have to, not saying you have to, but a lot of people go to the negative side thinking it's positive. That's a crazy, we're in a dichotomy, both positive and negative. And someday you should have discernment on which one you choose. A lot of people have chosen consciously to go negative. But that's fantastic because that means that karma's coming back to them much quicker, as I said before, than just doing things halfway. Half negative, half positive. You just don't know what's coming your way. It's always good to know what's coming your way when you do something 100% and you do it well. Okay. So I guess that's all there is on smoking right now. I think I hit a lot of the topics. So any of you kids or anyone that's watching, give me a thumbs up, a thumbs down on anything you watch. A comment would be fantastic. Algorithms, didn't even know what they were. And join the club. Uncle Martin has a club. That's to be a subscriber. And if you have a subscription, I will definitely check you out and subscribe to you. I want you to share Uncle Martin to as many people as you feel might be interested in Uncle Martin. And that means if you're interested in Uncle Martin, your, well, friends or acquaintances and parents would be also in that category. Birds of a feather flock together. Okay, until we see each other again. Everyone be well. God victory. Today is Saturday. I will see you all tomorrow, Sunday, about 5-ish. Until then, again, be well. God victory. Take care.